Okay.
We're ready. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Getting the Skinny. It's Julie, Lisa, and Jackie, and we're here for all things wellness, fashion, style, nutrition. But right now, we are really here for our biggest superstar guest of the year. She is an activist, an educator, an actress, a cancer survivor. She has been with us from the 90s and one of all of our favorite sitcoms. I think you know who and what I'm talking about.
Woo!
It's the nanny. Yes, it's the one and only Fran Drescher. And not only do we love her for her career, her activism, but she is a huge supporter and partner of us and the Skinny line. As you guys know, we love talking about this brand and what it does to inspire and educate women, because who does that better than Fran Drescher? And we just love to be a part of this with her. Her mission, donating 33% of all sales of the Skinny line at theskinnyline.com. And Fran, wow, it is just incredible to have you here with us today and to see you. You look incredible.
Thank you. Well, it was such a busy morning. I'm not even wearing a stitch of makeup, but I do appreciate the Skinny Line supporting Cancer Schmancer, which is my nonprofit that I founded, and it's very near and dear to my heart. And I think we do such great work. So it's always wonderful when we find like-minded businesses that want to be not only for profit, but also philanthropic. So we appreciate that kind of conscious capitalism.
Wow, I love how you phrase that. Can you share how clean eating was the turning point for you and how that was the platform behind Cancer Schmancer and how it changed your life?
Well, it all began because it took me 2 years and 8 doctors to get a proper diagnosis of uterine cancer. I got in the stirrups more times than Django. And,
It goes.
so the cornerstone of the organization was I didn't want what happened to me to happen to other people by means of misdiagnosis, mistreatment. And then, I started to think, well, the reason why we lose loved ones to cancer is usually due to late stage diagnosis. So let's educate everybody, because if you catch it on arrival, 95% survival. So, and then I started to think, well, wait a minute, why is there so much dis-ease with everybody, whether it be cancer, which is, the end stage of inflammation, or many other kinds of diseases and all this autoimmune problems. And, so then I began to obsess on causation. And once you start doing that, you cannot dismiss your lifestyle and the foods that you're putting in your mouth. And that becomes a whole big, huge shift in how you approach living, because we have been, through the whole 20th century, just getting more and more toxic, all under the guise of quote unquote convenience and, modern. But that's a bunch of bullshit, because truth be told, it's very inconvenient, the living a toxic life. And it's going to impact you and your family and even your pets, and also the planet. And we're all one big interdependent living organism. And if you're going to be throwing stuff away and polluting things that are vital to our existence, ultimately it's going to come back to bite you on the ass. So my biggest thing now is how you live equals how you feel. So, and you don't have to save the world, save yourself, save your family. You change, and then each one teach one. Just you changing is monumental. Change your spending habits, change your buying habits, we have at Cancer Schmancer a detox your home program, very progressive, and it teaches you how to take the check, choose, and change challenge, check labels, choose organic, eco-friendly products, and become the change that we also desperately need. If everybody just did that for themselves, it would be done. If everybody stopped drinking cola today, they'd stop making it tomorrow. It wouldn't matter what regulations were legislated. It wouldn't matter because the bottom line is the bottom line. So just stop mindless, per, spending and become mindful and start buying the things that are going to keep you and your family healthy and well and keep the planet healthy and well. You don't need pesticides or herbicides or antibiotics or growth hormones. You don't need to eat anything that, is being abused. And that's a conversation that really hasn't happened during this whole pandemic thing.
I love how you phrase that about conscious eating and intuitive eating. And if you just work on yourself, it's infectious. It affects the people around you immediately, certainly the energy of your family, which is why we set out to create the skinny line. Because I know Jackie, you've worked with Jackie's the nutritionist, I'm the fitness, and we have the red carpet reporter and editor, Julie. But one of the things that is so difficult for women, especially Fran, is that the withdrawal symptoms when they're transitioning off of the cola and the chemicals because our body gets used to it. How did you educate yourself and get over that? Because that's what the 30-day plan is about, is really supporting everyone through that process. What was your strength?
Well, look, once you have cancer, that's a big incentive to, start
Right.
examining everything.
Right.
And, then I actually mentally am not afraid to reinvent the wheel. I do not take the road most traveled. I'm not a follower. I don't, like settle for the status quo. So it's my nature. And that's why I think I'm alive today, because even after, 8 doctors telling me I was essentially well, I knew something was wrong. And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I got to find another doctor, and I'd leave. Most people don't do that. So, if you decide, hey, I'm gonna, change my lifestyle and reduce my risk of getting a whole host of diseases for the body. If you take care of your immune system will take care of you. That's the difference between the people that, ended up dying from COVID and the people that never got it or were asymptomatic. What was that? And a lot of it rests with your immune system. And, people may not even be diagnosed, but they're unhealthy. They don't even know it, but they are. And it usually has to do with the foods you eat, the personal care items that you use, everything, including your toothpaste, and then the cleaning and gardening stuff that you use. So it is a lifestyle. You don't even have to limit it to 30 days. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. A million-mile journey begins with a single step. And then don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. Don't beat yourself up because you fell off the wagon for a meal, or you didn't realize that this was toxic and oh my God, I ate it, or, whatever. But truth be so just approach it that way, first of all, with kindness and compassion for yourself. You make the effort, it takes time. And every time you go to the market, every time you finish something, replace it with something that's healthier. And the more you do that, it's a huge lifestyle shift. I don't think it can be done in 30 days, but I, for the first 30 days, went on a no or low histamine diet because I was experiencing a tremendous amount of inflammation that I didn't have subsequent to my surgery, But at the time that they gave me a radical hysterectomy, they also took out my appendix prophylactically, which I don't recommend for anyone. And most Western doctors to this day will tell you you don't need your appendix, when in fact, most alternative doctors, which is who I deal with almost exclusively, will say the lymphatic system, the appendix is the brains of the lymphatic system. So my lymphatic system essentially got a lobotomy, and I wasn't able to metabolize histamines as well as I once was. And so they were clogging my my lymphatic system. And nobody here in the States even diagnosed that for me. Everybody had another prescriptive drug to suppress my symptoms, whether it was swollen hands from the rheumatologist, or I had pericarditis once, which is inflammation of the heart sac, not the heart, but the heart sac. I had pleurisy once, which was inflammation of the lung sac, not the lung. I've had, the shoulders get sore. I've had swollen, elbow area, all soft tissue swelling. And they just, all they had was different prescriptions to suppress the system. And of course I said, I'm not doing any of this. What is causing this? And I happened to be in Austria getting a Lifetime Achievement Award when, really, by the grace of God, I was bending over in my room to get something out of the minibar.
That sounds like
And
fun.
as one does when they're on a trip, and uh, I hurt my back. It just, I pulled it weird, and I ended up flat on my back on the floor, and I grabbed my cell phone just in the nick of time. And I called the concierge downstairs because I was at a hotel. And I said, listen, this cancer organization that's given me a Lifetime Achievement Award, they sold a room on my name. I have to show up for this. And I got to get somebody, a doctor or a masseuse, somebody. So they sent the house doctor, who turned out to be a dermatologist. And so I showed her my hands, which were all swollen like Cabbage Patch dolls. And I was noticing that when I flew, I would get this inflammation in my hands. So I said, what do you make of this? And she turned my hands right side upside down and said very quickly, looks like you have a histamine problem. And I said, gee, I went to the best allergist at UCLA. I went to this doctor, that. She said, no, this is not an allergy. This is your body's inability to metabolize histamines. And all I can say to you is this: go on a no histamine diet, download all of the ones that you find online, and do the strictest version of them all. And for a month. And if all your symptoms go away in a month, you'll know that that's what it is. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Although nobody in this country ever would have come up with that conclusion. And as it turns out, a lot of superfoods happen to be very high in histamines. And then your body produces histamines when you're in a toxic environment like an airplane. So it was a catch-22, because unbeknownst to me, things like tea and fish and berries and, are all very high in histamines. And I thought I was eating that to be healthy. So a month can make a difference in clearing out your body. And I really do recommend for people to, embrace the skinny line, try the no histamine diet, especially if you don't have an appendix. People, just yesterday, I was walking with a girlfriend, and she said, I have terrible acid reflux. And I also, she had something else. I can't remember what. Maybe it was headaches. And I said, I don't know why you should have acid reflux. You're very thin, you have a flat stomach. That really should be when you have a big gut and it's pulling on the stomach. So it's straightening it out in a way that allows the acid to come back up. And so I said to her, do you have an appendix? And she said, no. I said, honey, that's what it is. Don't listen to these doctors. I mean, you may be having that, but as a reaction to the fact that you don't have an appendix, and try the no histamine diet. And 9 out of 10 people, when I ask them, do you have an appendix? They'll say no. So your appendix is greatly underestimated by Western medicine. And B, a month can be very telling if you radically take a lot of stuff out and then very gradually do one at a time back to see if you're ready or if you can't. Now I can have blueberries. I'll have an occasional piece of fish, but fish is still hard for me. And so, it's one day at a time. Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good, and just start. And it's not just food, it's your environment too. It's what you're breathing and how you're living and everything. I mean, if you're eating a strawberry that's not organic, you might as well be eating a sponge soaked in pesticide. If you're using toothpaste that says, do not swallow or call poison control, step away from that tooth. That's counterintuitive. You can't put something, what?
Yeah, no, I said everybody better listen up to Dr. Drescher here, because these are all your firsthand tips and things. Absolutely, we all are dealing with to some extent.
Yeah.
It becomes a family affair. Just start doing it and don't make expense your excuse, because first of all, Costco and Walmart is selling organic and eco-friendly products. And don't be penny wise, dollar foolish, because in the end, you're going to pay for it, and you're going to pay for it in a way that's going to cost you a lot more. It could cost you your life.
So Fran says, pay now or pay later, but either
Yes.
way, you pay. So don't cheap out when it comes to what you're putting in your body. And most people are more concerned about what they're putting on their body or what they're driving versus what they're putting in their body, their own fuel.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
According to USA Today,
and
most
take
people
off
take better
those
care. Yeah.
sneakers. Take off your sneakers and stop wearing rubber-soled shoes and put your feet on the earth and
Yes.
get grounded. We've cut ourselves off from the earth, and we are
love
like
it.
antennas of the earth.
Okay,
just
girls,
like
let's start
trees.
singing. We feel the earth. Ready? We feel
Feel
the
the
earth move
Wait,
Fran,
under my
under
feet.
my
I
feet.
feel
love,
the
love,
earth
love.
I
move
can
under my
tumbling
feet.
down.
Woo! But it's true. What you're saying is absolutely
so
true.
true.
It is.
Fran, I
It's
love that.
everything old
that.
is new again, and we've been dumbed down and numbed out for so long. And now look at this, corner we've painted ourselves into. And the only way out, and you know what? Also, for your viewers, and listeners, uh, you don't spend your hard-earned money on products that are manufactured by people who simply don't care about you or your family's health and well-being. All they care about is making money. And so what you buy and what you don't buy becomes not only your vote, but also your protest.
Ooh,
Good one.
I'm full of them, ladies.
All
I
of them.
love that.
All of
That's
them.
that's the passion, especially you're in a leadership position. So many women look up to you and you've inspired them. And we know that laughter is the best medicine. So when Julie calls you Dr. Fran, your doctor medicine goes back when you started. Seriously, you are an amazing comedian
Thank
and you are an
you.
empowered woman that is using your platform to inspire others because of what you went through. And I love that we're sharing this conversation about clean eating. And I know Jackie, as our functional nutritionist that's behind this and the good manufacturing practices and everything that you're saying about what we put in our body. Jackie, I know you have so many questions from all of our success stories for Fran about nutrition and clean eating.
Oh, yeah. It's, what we were saying before. I think people, it's the hardest thing for them is to get started. That first thing. And it's just, if they only knew, it's so much easier once you get started. It's the starting that's the hardest. And that's the issue a lot of people have, because they're viewing this as, deprivation, and it's a drudgery, and they can't have everything they want, and they don't know
They
that.
can have everything they want, everything you can get organic.
Yes. And
I teach that to my parents. It's like, there's nothing you can't eat that I can't make that's a million times healthier than what you are buying. Don't support those industrial farms. Go support the organic family farmer. That's where it's at.
yeah, you're spot on with every single thing that you're saying. And it's been things I've been saying for years and years and years. So I'm just so grateful to you that you have really brought it out into the forefront for people, as a celebrity, and they're hearing you.
Yeah, I feel like I got famous. I got cancer, and I live to talk about it. So
God bless.
Fran, if
sometimes
it
the
doesn't,
best gifts come in the ugliest packages.
yeah, but also if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. So here you are leading
True.
the charge, and you're getting stronger and younger with time. And I think we need to write a book with you, Fran, called Laugh It Off with the Skinny Line with the Queen, because I think that we have to find humor along the way. Because if we're not laughing at it, we're crying, or I don't know, just to keep it light, to inspire women, because they really do get depressed when they hit that plateau. That's why we do it in 30-day cycles, not just for 30 days, but just after 30 days, they're losing that belly bloat. They're feeling they have more energy. They're not as depressed and lethargic. And many of our success stories also find that their joints don't hurt after 30 days,
Definitely.
and they're not depressed. Sometimes they think, oh, I need to be depressed if something's happening in my life that's sad or bad, but it's just an overall chemical feeling. Yeah.
Definitely. I think you should rebrand Skinny and Healthy line, because, there's so many like weight reduction programs that are unhealthy. And, you have a much more holistic approach. You can't just get thin. You have to get thin the right way. You have to really get educated. We shouldn't have to go through all this, but the 20th century really sold us a bill of goods that was not smart and needs to be reevaluated.
Absolutely.
Well, I think also we are creatures of habit, and you brought something up about environmental. Julie has created the closet detox, because even if you feel overwhelmed and everything is disorganized, or you have different sizes in your closet, some of those social norms or those environmental toxins, whether it's the smell of your fabric or the touch of the fabric, sounds like a commercial, the touch, the feel of cotton. No, I'm sorry. But the point is that it's all of those working together that we really do need to pay attention to, because their parents or their grandparents thought, oh, this doctor was God, or, oh, I always use Palmolive, or, oops, don't like to bash any brands, but those kinds of things, or certain products have chemicals and preservatives and BHT in them. Well, my grandmother used Progresso breadcrumbs, yikes. And yet she had arthritis, and she was 100 pounds overweight and cute Italian woman, but she was a victim of it. It was normal. So a lot of these are passed down like tradition.
Yeah, and it's not to say you can't have pasta, but have organic imported pasta from Italy, because and have it with vegetables instead of meat, because there's also something to be said for food combining. So you do meat and vegetables, you do carbs and vegetables, but you're really not supposed to do meat and carbs.
Boom. Bad combination.
And even if you're into animal protein, do not support industrial farmed animals. So you don't want to eat an animal that's living an enslaved Dickensian life. And you are what you eat, and they're being fed poison. So that's what you're eating. And then you're scratching your head wondering, why do I have this problem, health problem? Why do I have that? Oh, having arthritis, that's just inflammation. My mother will say her hands are killing her. And it's like, well, what did you eat? Just before I talked to you, I wanted to tell her that I was going to do a podcast. So I'm not going to pick up the phone. So don't worry. And she said she's making my father spaghetti with shrimp. Okay. And she said I didn't have enough sauce, so I used some tomato paste. I said, Ma, I told you, cut it with like milk or half and half or something, because that red sauce is killing your hands. That's a nightshade that's very inflammatory. And she is going to cut it. She's going to make it into a pink sauce. And for me, that's a triumph with my parents.
That's great.
If I could trust get them.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely a skinny line cookbook too with you, I think, between your phrases, your recipe tips, everything else, because absolutely going along with our brand, that's really why we created this. It's not just to lose weight. It's, as you say, it's holistic. It's a clean eating approach. It's educating people, just how you do with Cancer Schmancer. It's just become a movement of women, no
Yeah,
matter
we
what
should
age.
definitely talk about that. First of all, I happen to be an excellent cook.
Oh my
And
Be
goodness.
right over.
I
Wow.
have a dear friend that was diagnosed with cancer, and now he's on a special diet, which actually I put him on. The doctors didn't tell him,
Dr.
cut
Fran
out all the
again,
sugar
calling
and everything.
Dr. Fran, Dr. Fran.
Exactly.
So what was the program?
Well, no, he's not doing any sugar, so he's off of everything sugar except for some natural fruits, and he's only eating small portions of very pristine animal protein or wild fish, and then a lot of green vegetables and green juices. And so, and then I had him reduce the EMFs in his house, the electromagnetic fields, because he was just brain dead to all of that stuff. And now he's shuts off his Wi-Fi at night, which everybody needs to do, because part of the reason why people have so many sleep problems is because that Wi-Fi is buzzing around their head all night. And that is the time when we're supposed to regenerate and get rest. And then you got to do intermittent fasting too. I mean, if you can eat all of your meals in an 8-hour block, that's probably your best bet. And then 16 hours, let your body metabolize and also start focusing on healing and fixing other things. But if it's constantly distracted with digestion, then it never has time or opportunity to go after things that are beginning to turn wrong. So, you gotta understand how the body works, look at it as many interesting systems within the body and support those systems.
Agreed. With the skinny line,
Absolutely.
we have women do like an overnight 13-hour fast to start, and then
Oh, that,
start to kind of push it farther than that as they go on. So that
that's
really
great.
helps. Yeah, that really helps a lot, because then their blood
I
sugar
like
is
that you guys
normalized.
do. You don't shock the system. You start at the point of manageable.
Mhm.
And that's very helpful and less daunting.
Yeah, you
And
have to, or else
realistic.
people are just going to get turned off right away. You give them too much, too strict.
Yeah. And yeah, one foot in front of the other. Just take your time and be loving to yourself and look at it as a lifestyle change, but not deprivation.
No,
You can eat
not.
whatever,
And you can eat
you
more.
want. And look, yet the other day, I had a couple of friends over for lunch, and they said, "Oh, you look like you lost weight." And I said, I eat everything I want, but it's all organic, and I'm usually done by like 6:30.
Mhm. Okay.
And that's all it is. And then I have a big window where my body can digest. I actually stand a lot when I'm eating because I'm by myself a lot, and I think it aids in digestion.
It's interesting. I think
Wow, we're
that's a
getting
lot
all
of
the
what you do.
tips and secrets. You're glowing. You look absolutely ageless. You could be 30,
No
you could be
makeup.
proof, you could be
Yeah.
28, you could be absolutely. So everyone, all of our listeners, we're here with Fran Drescher, the queen of comedy. I'm sorry, and the most beautiful person inside and out that you have dedicated your life to empowering others. And it's also taking a risk because sometimes it's not easy to go against what's popular and what's mainstream. You're talking about transitioning to organic, but it surprises a lot of people to say, do you know that there's bovine growth hormones and there are all kinds of antibiotics? No wonder you're immune and you're getting these reactions because it's absorbed into our system. But
Yeah.
Fran, to make a statement about that is also taking a risk. So you are very courageous. Like, in Jewish we say chutzpah, in Italian we say, you know, one of those. So where do you get your courage?
Well,
You
I
say what
feel
you
like
feel.
if you have the gift of fame on a international scale like I did, and you don't leverage it for the greater good, you're absolutely wasting it. So, I go to the mat on several issues, but this happens to be very near and dear to me because I think that if you start practicing living your life this way, the ripple effect is so far reaching because you're going to end up improving conditions on the planet. You're going to end up saving a lot of abused animals, which is why we got COVID in the first place. And that's a conversation that hasn't really happened. But it's all of the animal abuse. So, there's a lot about your dogs, your pets, your garden, everything. The food is going to be more nutritious. You can't kill everything, microorganism in the soil and expect to get nutrient rich food from the plants you're eating. And you can't eat GMO and think that the glyphosate isn't ripping tiny holes in your gut, which is why we see this increase in leaky gut and why we see this increase in autoimmune problems. I feel bad for the farmers that were sold this bill of goods to convert their farms into GMO farms because they're now, I think, realizing that you, you know, they're not really making the money that was promised to them. And it requires more water because the roots are much shorter. And the whole thing, all farming now needs to be regenerative farming, sustainable farming. It's like just wake up and smell the coffee. We don't need to
The
be in the
organic coffee, the organic coffee. I'm
back
kidding. Only kidding.
organic fair trade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
We don't have to be in the chemical business, people. We don't have to make these people any richer. Let's get real. Let's get back to the basics. And you'll see how much better you feel and how much happier the planet will be. And we're all interconnected. We're in this boat. What are you doing? Ah, what's the matter with our species? Why don't they notice that you can't keep throwing away plastic into the ocean? And now they want to increase single use plastic production. It's like, don't buy plastic Water bottles, don't buy plastic. Soda bottles, don't buy it. Don't buy plastic bottles if you can at all avoid it. Avoid it.
Buy
I
a water
don't
filter instead.
buy glass, buy cartons, buy boxes. Don't buy that. And I buy a lot of glass stuff. And the more you buy stuff, glass is so beautifully recyclable. Glass is pure because it melts down and you make it into something else, another kind of glass thing. It's just a beautiful thing and it's biodegradable. It just crushes up, turns back into sand.
And it also
So
doesn't put toxins in your food. Plastic puts
thank you.
toxins in your food. Glass is
You're-
pure. It doesn't impart anything into your food.
It's absolutely clean. And there was a time when you couldn't throw out a cigar box without turning it into a sewing box or
Ah,
a can of chock full of nuts coffee without making it into,
thanks.
a money can or whatever,
My
something to
mom
put your,
used to bake bread in those coffee cans, those Italian
yes.
panettones. She used to use the coffee can. Oh my God, you're so
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So,
sweet
it's,
person.
we have to, as a society had to be educated to be a throwaway society. We had to be brainwashed into buying things we do not need or really want. We had to be, like brainwashed into thinking that if I buy that dress, my husband will love me more. If I buy that car, I'll feel better about myself than my neighbor does about himself. All of this psychology that started with Freud's nephew, who revolutionized the advertising industry and developed uh, like a style that speaks to the inner insecurities of human beings that they are still practicing to this day. Don't let them do that to you. See through it and
Now,
give them.
I thought we were talking about a medical doctor, MD. Now, Fran is also a psychiatrist. Damn. You got the
I
whole,
am a
yeah,
bit of a shrinkhead. I like to think of myself more as an old school medicine woman
I love
because I
that.
know that everything that we need, the earth has already granted us, and food is medicine and medicine is food. And they were saying that 3,000 years ago in ancient Greece. They were saying it, 7,000 years ago in ancient China. I mean, civilizations forget things and then they have to be relearned. And this is one of those lessons. Just become friends with the earth. We were here to shepherd the earth, not abuse it. So just start being that way. Be kind, be compassionate, make those your compass.
Ooh, this is riveting. Such an important conversation with Fran Drescher. We really love you. Thank you for these. These statements are beyond anything that anyone can imagine because it's something that resonates with all of us, but we're a society where everyone's so busy and we're distracted. But this is the most important thing. And you hit something that about advertising, like don't be a victim of it. But people are sort of ego dependent on materialism and they're distracted onto the next, onto the next. And that goes for food choices and being creatures of habit. So really what you're saying is stop the madness and learn from history, but also make a conscious effort that we're creating history as pioneers for the new generation. And you are
Yeah,
leading that charge. No, that's why we reached out to you, Fran, and we love that you're behind the skinny line because clean eating is also what launched it really was COVID. I am in the fitness industry. My family owns health clubs for women for decades. That's what I've done since I'm 12 years old. I own fitness centers. And the women that have come to us over the years, and especially with COVID, they were really concerned about what can they do for immunity. And the first thought sometimes is go to the doctor and get a drug. But immunity is everything that you're about, which is it starts with choices that you're making, food that we're putting in our body, and our biggest organ, our skin, what's being absorbed. So the
And
immunity,
also
whole
liver
foods.
and
Yeah.
skin. People don't realize that one of the systems in the body is liver and skin. And I'm often told, you have beautiful skin, which is very flattering, but I answer them by saying I have a clean liver.
It's so intense. You would never hear a woman say that. It's like, what's your cream? What's your secret? Few easy payments of 1995. No, just hang out with Dr.
Just
Drescher.
my liver.
Yeah,
No, but it's
it's
so good.
like gut is immune and gut is brain. If if you're getting sick, you got to check your gut microbiome. If
100%.
you're getting depressed or anxious or forgetful or whatever, that could also be your gut. So
All
gut
about
is
the gut.
key.
All about the
Learning,
gut.
yes.
Your gut. Look, everything is so connected. I think that's what's so great about this. We're talking about a whole ecosystem of clean eating and not just what you put in your body, but how it affects your skin, your external organs, how great you look. And of course, I have to give a shout out as editor in chief of Resident. In fact, Fran, I know you were on the cover years ago. We'll have to talk about a skinny line cover with you, but absolutely, it's part of beauty secrets and celebrities on red carpets and how do we look good. And you explain to people it's not just all the makeup and in front of the camera, it's really holistically your approach and how you take care of yourself. And we all want to look and feel great. We talk a lot on the show with last month with mental health awareness month, because especially for women, I think we take on so much and we just want to really be the best version. And absolutely, as Lisa just said, COVID spurred so much of this on, because I think we all want to be healthy and have a great immune system. I don't even want to have a cold. I sneeze here and there. We all just want to be ourselves. And when you don't feel well, you don't feel like yourself. And as you know, especially, nothing matters, no matter where you are career wise.
And you know what? If anything, through this pandemic, I think that, slowing down and enjoying the simple things in life is all, including your family, is really all that matters. We don't have all the time in the world. So you got to stop living like you do and just, every day try and be in gratitude and look around and see it like it's the last time you will, because it could be.
Time is very precious. Right before COVID, when I was in a bit of a busy frenzy, I kept saying, me time is the new luxury item. Me time is the new luxury item because it's the most important thing, and we only
It
have
should
so much
be
of.
the core curriculum of the day.
Oh, damn. And time management. I know you can really jump on this way more than myself, Jackie, but one of the things about the toxins, why clean eating is also so important, is that whether it's plastic or chemicals, they're hormone disruptors. And
Absolutely.
especially with women that are perimenopausal, menopausal, or really the gamut. My sister is a midwife and delivers babies. And it's true, the interruption of hormones in effect, especially on women, even as early as their 20s and 30s, is prevalent. And more often than not, it's from the chemicals, or if they're on the pill and eating poorly and exposed to environmental stresses.
Right. American women have the highest percentage of flame retardant in their breast milk of any other woman on the planet. And
Terrible.
we're all scratching our heads and saying, why
Where
do
did that come
all these kids have learning differences? Fabric everywhere, from your pajamas
All right, I'm
to
taking my
your couch,
jacket off. I'm
to your
disrobing.
drapes,
Carpet,
all the
everything.
off-gassing of synthetic undergarments, your bra, off-gassing is a terrible problem that's coming from either, and if you really think about what no iron sheets and shirts are, it's cotton that's been doused with chemicals. And even 10 years after washing it, it's still off-gassing.
Well, that's
terrible.
like the Twinkie, putting a Twinkie in a
Right.
time capsule for 500 years. It'll look the same, the Twinkie and the cotton shirt that's with chemicals. So what's a girl to do, Fran? Walking around in your birthday suit on the Skinny Line program and have a little rock garden with basil in the backyard and you'll cook? I mean, what is a girl to do? Come on.
Well, that all of that sounds great. I mean, that sounded like me to a T. And you wake up in the morning and you just try and keep it simple, stupid. Kiss it.
Is it?
Kiss the day.
Agreed.
Which is an
Simple.
acronym for keep it simple, stupid.
Yes. All right. With all this energy that you have, we're so inspired by you. I'm feeling like I have to do more because you're changing the earth. Tell us about what's going on. I mean, we're so excited about these rumors. Last week in New York, they're starting to show Broadway, The Lion King is back and all the Broadway pre-tickets. So what's happening with The Nanny? Because we are so in love with, it's not the role, it is you and what you created it. You created her. We're in love with you and her. And it's like,
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a great show. And
tell
we're
us about
very
it. How did that
excited
happen?
about it. Well, Peter and I are writing the book, and Rachel Bloom is doing the lyrics. And, it's funny because while I've been talking to you, I've seen these texts coming in from the director who just, I guess, read Peter's My Latest Rewrite and seemed very, as soon as we're done, I'm going to go see what they're all buzzing about, but it seems like it's positive and it's just going to be great. And her lyrics are so funny. She's so perfect for us. She so captures the show and grew up watching it and loves it and is such a great, talented woman from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So, I mean, we're really hoping that maybe within the next 2 years we'll be opening on Broadway, and that'll be amazingly exciting for all of the fans around the world. And it's doing gangbusters on HBO Max. Everybody's tuning into that, and it's blowing up and trending all over social media because everybody's so happy that they can watch it on a streaming platform with no commercials, including me. I haven't seen it with no commercials since being in the editing room. I mean, because even on CBS there were commercials, and then in syndication there were commercials. There's always been commercials, and now you can watch it on HBO Max, and it's so good. I'm just so pleased with it, and it holds up so beautifully. And I got Hotel T4, Hotel Transylvania 4. I play Eunice, Frankenstein's wife, or Frank Stein, and that's coming out in July in theaters, which will be exciting. So that also is opening up in the way we are used to seeing Hotel Transylvania on the big screen in a theater with an audience, and that's this July, and it's very funny, and the animation is just incredible. I mean, you just go on a ride, and the visuals are just fantastic, and it's genuinely funny. I mean, there's just so many Saturday Night Live writers on it, and such funny comedians that are involved in it. And I've done all 4 of them. And so that's coming out, and that's really good. And then Cancer Schmancer has their big concert this June. I think it's going to be June 20th. And we've got amazing people, really great people like Jackson Brown and Cyndi Lauper and Cynthia Erivo and Catherine McPhee Foster and David Foster. It's just going to be a fantastic night and or afternoon. And I just hope everybody signs up to cancerschmancer.org. And then you'll get all the notifications. Everything that we do, we put out free to the public because we're a nonprofit with the hopes that you will support us financially so that we can keep bringing you the things that we do so you can change your life and you can reduce your risk, reduce it to a wee tiny bit, and stay healthy and live longer. And think outside of the box. Learn these mind blowing things that we offer you that you're not going to hear normally. And thank you, Skinny Line, for supporting us because, we don't associate with brands that don't walk the talk. And we would never take money from a company that is against our mission statement. So we're delighted to have you support us. And I hope that, we can make it mutually beneficial by me doing things like this for you on your podcast. It gives me an opportunity to keep spreading my word. And hopefully people will tune in and become more aware of the Skinny Line too. But, I've turned down fortunes of money from companies that wanted me as a celebrity to promote products. And I won't do it because, if I'm not my word, who am I? You got to walk the talk in this life. And that's more important than money, and people need to start realizing you'll make money, but you're not at the expense of all things of true value, like the planet, your health, and integrity.
Well, and that's why
mhm.
we're so excited to partner with you because I feel like our missions are so aligned and we just want to educate, inspire. We've come so far, but as we've spoken about, I mean, there's so much more to do to get women, especially, and really everybody this on this clean eating path and really realizing how the little things they can do add up and can help them be cancer free, boost their immunity. So there's really so much left to do. But I just have to say, I'm a huge fan, as we all are, of The Nanny. It was my favorite thing as a kid watching. So I love now that it's on HBO Max. I cannot wait for the premiere on Broadway. I think we'll all be there cheering that on. And it's so great you're a part of that and everything that you're doing with Cancer Schmancer. We love to support as much as we can. And we're just so proud of that in this partnership. So thank you.
We should talk about if you can be the big sponsor for like a cooking health show, we could probably do it on even PPS together.
Well, we would love that.
Very
Our
much
whole
so.
mission is only eating whole foods and educating women also for their families. And we stand behind it. And this is something that has been so dear to me because I do feel that women are the center, the hub of the wheel, and they're always very different than when my mom was growing up or past generations. It's now the woman is working and she's managing the household, still managing meals and kids. And if we can empower them, as you were saying earlier, with just making one change in their life, that affects not only their family, but the kids when they have friends over for snacks. And you really are changing the world. It just
Well,
continues.
each one teach one, right?
Absolutely.
Love that phrase.
So, Fran, you're looking so gorgeous. I know it's what you put in your body, but being the fitness anchor here and teaching for, oh my God, since 1977, what is your fitness routine? Because everyone on the Skinny Line, we have the Skinny Line 30-day fitness plan, but I want to know what your workout is because you are gorgeous and glowing.
Well, I'm a distance walker. I love walking long distances and, being out in nature primarily, but any long distance walking is good with me. So that's something I do several times a week. And then I like doing weight resistant exercises, um, mostly using my own body as the weight.
Okay.
Um, and
Like isometrics, a lot of isometrics.
love
Control movement.
isometric.
Good. Okay.
Love isometrics. So all of that is really wonderful. And um, that's really about it. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I think, oh, can I kind of use this moment to have a little resistance with that muscle group? And all over the house, there are things from chairs to your kitchen counter, there's to the floor. I don't really need to go to a public gym to work out and exercise. So it's just, I'm just always thinking about it and always trying to do some floor work. I like Pilates a lot.
Well, I love what you're saying, and that is a very similar philosophy. That's why you're part of the Skinny Line 30-day plan, but also it includes not only the clean plan of clean eating and whole foods, but the fitness is exactly what you just said. It's about time efficient workouts for women that are always going. You have to sneak it in. So 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there. So one of the things that is part of the program is also even how you're sitting. If you're sitting like this, you're compressing your internal organs, you're releasing adrenaline, and you can get adrenal fatigue and you're tired. But conscious sitting or active sitting is where you're engaging your core and you're taking that deep breath rather than these shallow breaths that lead to belly fat. And
You're
it's a real thing.
absolutely right.
But women are so surprised. They look at me like I have 12 heads when I'm speaking and they're like, what? I'm too
And
busy.
you know what? A lot of people don't realize that they can make eating their meditation.
Oh, explain that one. I've not heard that. All right, let's go, Fran.
Because, eating is a very important time to be single minded and mindful that, you're putting food in your mouth, you're chewing it, you know, it, chew your liquids and liquefy your solids.
Ooh,
And
that's good.
and then you swallow it. And if you really start thinking about it and you're tasting it and you're smelling it and you're being quiet, and you're not taking in a lot of air or distracted or shoving it in, and you're really kind of multitasking, you're going to digest your food better, you're going to metabolize your food better, you're going to have less gas, less digestive issues. If you can stand while eating sometimes, that's wonderful. And so, and you may not know how to meditate, but meditating is really just trying to be single-minded with whatever you're doing. So do it when you're eating, and you'll be hitting two birds with one stone.
Well, what you're also saying is practice mindfulness while you're eating and eat with all your senses. And in the process of slowing down, your satiety is going to elevate whether you're feeding your brain or your cells. You're not going to get the same rush. You're going to eat less because it's going to register and you'll feel better. So
Everything, it's
Neutral
all.
posture, right? When you're standing eating.
yeah, easier said than done. I mean,
Oh, I love to stand eating. Love it.
my goodness, we have to incorporate that, the stand and go, like the walking desk, like
And
how
also when you're cooking, low and slow. Cook low and slow.
low and slow.
Low flame and slow. Slow cooking is
So you're
the
not
key.
killing everything. You're not killing all the
Right, you're not
flavor.
right. And get rid of the microwave, people.
Wow, this is a lot of, this isn't tips. This is a life plan. I mean,
Yeah.
we-
Microwaves,
Mhm.
microwaves change the metabolic structure of the food. And, it's just keep a skillet on your stove. Heat things up that way. Have a teapot on your stove. You know, uh, go back to the way your great grandma did it and use products that have ingredients that may have grown in her garden. And that's it. It's a simple rule of thumb. that will make a humongous difference.
So
And
if you
I
could-
agree with you. Eat as much whole food as possible and not processed. If it looks like the food, eat it.
Wow. Well, in the 30-day skinny line, and again, they repeat it in terms of clean eating and whole eating, it's also termed like crowding out. If you're crowding out those chemical laden foods and the crap, you're not desiring them. And then you want to choose and eat better and slower.
Absolutely.
And you know what else? You crave things differently because your body recognizes, oh, that's a macadamia nut and that feeds whatever nutritionally in my body. So then, a week later, you may crave a macadamia nut because your body recognizes it instead of some kind of mixed thing that macadamia nuts is in, and then you're craving the candy bar, let's say, but it's really the macadamia nut in it that you need. So if you eat individual foods, it's much healthier because then your body will recognize what it's eating and then it will crave that.
Wow. Well, that's a really, really good tip. We had a client, success story, lost over 20 pounds in clean eating. And the one obstacle she had was she was addicted to donuts and Cinnabons. Yikes.
Oh my
And,
God.
and I tried everything. And she said, whenever she would visit her daughter in college, it was like something would trigger in her brain and she'd have to stop and have it. So one of the things I said was, I want you to choose the sweetest cherries or fruits and taste it and then describe it. So she described it, the sweet fruit. And then I had her have a bite of a Cinnabon. And she said, and she's like, wow, that's really good. Then I said, go back to the fruit that was sweet. And she said, it has zero taste. So in that exact moment, her brain was tripped and it no longer was sweet. Anyway, that did not work. But what worked is I said, the next time you have a Cinnabon, know that it's a sin on your bun. That worked, Fran.
That's clever.
I know you. She's like, you ruined it for me. And I said, a donut is a do not. Anyway, that worked. But she loves the skinny line and she loves you. And they're continuing to want to support the brand and know that the proceeds go to Cancer Schmancer because it is about paying it forward, but it's about raising awareness. And we can continue to do this too, because we want to help women that feel like very, very stuck, right? They're yo-yoing and they're
Absolutely, yeah.
counting points and feeling depressed and feel like, oh, I am built this way or my mom was this way. And so we really want to change lives by inspiring, especially with someone like you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everything. And thanks for doing what you do. Women, even if they work, remain the caregiver of the child, spouse, and elder in almost every home around the globe. And they are the largest consumers, and they're the ones that are making the doctor appointments. So, go girl and do it right. And don't be seduced by, the brainwashing, because it's not for us, it's for them.
You give me chills. You make these statements. Like, I don't even know that you know how many people love you. And I was thinking about the character of the nanny and what was so cool, how you did it. I'm sorry to go back to the nanny again, but it fits here. I'm going somewhere with this, girls. She was a genius, but she was humble and cool and sexy and smart. And it's really difficult to pull those off because a lot of women think you have to be one. And it was just the perfect balance. And here you are today maintaining this in real life, but not with that short dress, or maybe with that short dress. You know
Yeah,
what?
no,
Maybe
still
you
let
wear
us-
whatever you want,
Yes,
girlfriend, with
but
7-inch heels.
She releases right. You live by it. It's not just you're saying this, you're speaking from experience and what you do, and really
Yes.
from a good place of genuinely wanting to help women. That's, I think, the biggest difference in, again, why we love doing everything with you. And
But that was also at a time in history where women were not as outspoken to be the brilliant, smart genius. You know that saying, Fran, behind every successful man is a great woman. It just wasn't his wife. It happened to be his nanny. So here you are, this genius mind and courageous, and we love what you're doing. So we will continue to encourage our Skinny Line 30-day clean eating, whole foods success stories and women to raise awareness. And thank you for sharing all of these tips. But just tell us again more, just what's coming up with your projects, because everyone wants to see your glowing skin. You could just wear your birthday suit. Look at all, just have to buy a Prada or a Chanel dress.
That's true.
It doesn't
we need
matter
to
what you
buy
wear.
the
She's
frame.
just
Well,
a glowing
definitely.
fan.
I just want everybody to go to cancerschmancer.org and sign up and watch for our next big event, which is this fabulous concert with wonderful, amazing performers. And that's our annual fundraising event. And there's so many great videos on the website from the Corona Care for You series, where we speak to outside of the box thinking doctors, giving you practical tips on how you can reduce your risk. And Jamie Fox, who is part of our Junior League Be the Change program, targeting teens and tweens, and our all of our masterclass series is just so informative and mind-blowingly interesting. So please go to cancerschmancer.org. And if you're a fan of mine, you know, it's wall to wall me with doctors and amazing people. And go see Hotel Transylvania 4 in theaters this July, and go to HBO Max and check out The Nanny on that streaming platform, because it's an absolute delight to watch without commercials. But if you don't have that, you can always catch it on Cozy.
Wow. Well, I am giving,
Yes.
we just love
Big
you.
time.
We can't wait to have you back on again. And thank you for partnering with the Skinny Line. And thank you from all of your fans, and all of everyone has contacted us to say thank you, and they love you. So just know the love for you is like, it just continues and it grows, especially that you are so candid and shared all this information. Thank you, Dr. Fran. Today's the day.
Yes,
She's not
Dr. Fran
indoctrinated into the
Drescher.
Holistic Hall of Fame. And thank you for being our guest on Women Talk Radio, WABC, Getting the Skinny, and for partnering again with the Skinny Line. So thank you, everyone. We love you, Fran. Please come back on again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I
Your
will.
parents are so lucky they get you to cook and share all those family recipes. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Be well, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you. So